Hey there, quirky peeps! Today we're gonna look at the MCU's greatest escape artists of the entire multiverse. Most Lokis may not want to change. They may remain the same lying, backstabbing gods of mischief who need a sense of authority to fill their voids of loneliness. Some Lokis do want to change, but the TVA won't let them. Still, one thing that is common with all Lokis is that they have a knack of escaping near-death situations. Loki supposedly died at the end of Thor, but not really. He somehow ended up near Thanos and then attacked Midgard.
He who put the scepter in your hand. Question him.
In Thor: The Dark World, he literally showed us how Curse killed him. But apparently, that was another moment where he faked his death and ended up usurping the throne of Asgard.
Odin's son!
You had one job.
Just the one? Where's Odin?
Then in Endgame, his path diverged from what it was supposed to be, and the TVA picked him up. He hung out with Mobius for a while, but he was ultimately pruned by Ravonna Renslayer. As it turns out, he still didn't die. He was just transferred to a limbo location called the Void. And here, he fought and survived against the Alioth. The only time he did die was at the hands of Thanos. He saw his own death in his file at the TVA. But some recent revelations in the series have actually reignited the spark of his survival even at the hands of Thanos.
Shit!
Back when we saw Loki's death in Infinity War, no one was ready to believe that he died for real. Everyone was hoping that he might have survived. There were all sorts of theories pointing out his survival. One theory presented legitimate proof that Loki is actually right-handed. He has mostly used every weapon with his right hand throughout his run in the MCU. But when he tried to stab Thanos, he used the dagger with his left hand. So maybe all this was a realistic illusion that Loki had cast, and he hid or escaped the Asgardian vessel. As it turns out, our previous headcanon has actually been proven to be true. Something like this actually happened in a different timeline within the MCU. Loki's 5th episode brought in several Loki variants, but the coolest variant among the new ones was Richard E. Grant's Classic Loki. He was obviously from a different timeline, as he looked different and had a classic comic book outfit. So Thor and the others might have worn similar wacky comic-accurate costumes in his timeline. Anyway, he revealed that everything was similar in his timeline until Thanos attacked the Grandmaster's vessel. Things only happened differently after that point. He didn't attack Thanos to let his brother escape.
You didn't try to stab him.
Certainly not.
He did not die in Odinson. Instead, he conjured an illusion which only showed that he attacked Thanos.
I cast a projection of myself, so real, even the mad Titan believed it.
Thanos killed a fake Loki from his illusion, and everyone believed that he died for real because the illusion was extremely persuasive. But in reality, he escaped. He hit as space debris and kept floating in the cosmos until he landed on an isolated planet. While he was on a different planet, Infinity War and Endgame would have occurred similarly in his timeline because he was out of the story. But as he decided to step away from his isolated planet, the TVA saw a branch growing and they ultimately pruned him. So maybe our Loki escaped in the same way in Infinity War. Loki's death at the hands of Thanos wasn't really consistent with his character arc. He is the greatest escape artist and he has cheated death countless times. So he could have cast an illusion that was similar to Classic Loki. And the TVA could not have detected him after the vessel exploded. While Thor was floating in space and rescued by the Guardians, Loki could have gone on to hide on an isolated planet. Asgardians can live for at least 5,000 years, if not more, and this Loki was just a little over 1,000 years old. So maybe he could have survived in solitude for a few thousand years until the sacred timeline reaches the Void. And the TVA may not have detected him because he didn't do anything to create a branch. Now that variants L1130 and Sylvia are fighting the big bad villain that created the sacred timeline, they might actually free all timelines that exist within the sacred timelines.
Watch it, where's your manners?
Instead of following the same story, all timelines could go their separate ways. And that could pave the way for the original Loki's return.
Your savior is here!
His fate will not be bound by what was decided for him within the sacred timeline. He would be free, and after we're done with L1130's story, we could probably see this original Loki return in a story that's set a millennia in the future. Maybe he finally decides to meet Thor after spending a lot of time alone, and we see a reunion of an old Thor and an old Loki. This time, there won't be a TVA to stop him, because Sylvie, Mobius, and L1130 would have already taken care of them.
How did you?
We thought you could do with some backup.
Okay now, we're done with the survival of this Loki. But the video is not done, because we've got another theory about the survival of another Loki. Before we get to that, it would be nice if you guys would hit the subscribe button. And do press the notification bell so you don't miss out on our future videos. Okay now, let's continue. Among the new Loki variants, boastful Loki got what he deserved. He probably died while fighting the other Loki variants. Kid Loki was the most savage out of the bunch as he killed Thor, ate wolves and snakes and whatnot.
You let a child command you?
You do well to respect the boy. This is his kingdom.
What was your Nexus event, Your Majesty?
We killed Thor.
Loki Gator was a total badass as he bit the hand of President Loki. And I'm sure that both of these Lokis survived to show up in the future. But it was Classic Loki who really showed his supremacy. He created a massive mystical illusion of Asgard and lured the Alioth towards him. In this moment, he went out laughing as he had finally found his glorious purpose. He supposedly died a hero, and that allowed the other two Lokis to enchant the purple cloud monster. But I have reason to believe that Classic Loki escaped his death one more time. He pulled off the same feat against Thanos. In the eyes of Thor, he died a hero while trying to do the right thing. But he actually survived, and you know what happened next. And now, he could have done exactly that against Alioth. Lokis are not losers, they are survivors, and they have a knack of escaping.
Why are there so many of you?
Because Loki survived. That's just what we do.
So maybe Classic Loki escaped another near-death situation while showing us another illusion of his demise. One could argue that his little time with variant L1130 changed him, and Classic Loki had already matured. His expression was also quite interesting when Mobius said that it was never too late to change. So maybe he did die for a real while taking on Alioth, but what if he survived? This question always prevails when a Loki is in consideration. I mean, he could have attracted Alioth to his fake body when he was casting his illusion. But in reality, he could have been casting the whole illusion of Asgard and himself from another nearby location. So it will be interesting to see if he survived yet again. What are your thoughts about this theory? Could we see Classic Loki once again in the finale? And do you think that the original Loki survived in Avengers Infinity War? Let us know your take upon these theories in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. And don't forget to check out some more fun videos on our channel. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!